Welcome to the Insiders, 16th of February, sponsored by Total Oil, BHP, and all things petrochemical. Wave pool review, WSL love attack. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I'm very good. Weekend for the waves for myself. Plus,
Yes, where were you today when I was busy sending you a couple of messages?
I was actually up the coast. I was in North Devon, surfing a not so secret spot called Croyd with my.
Ah, I wonder if you saw one of my best mates, Jackson Stevenson. He's up there, new local.
In my maybe there was a few guys out. I was with my good friend who is the one of the guys in reps Florence Marine X. Stu Pointer. He doesn't listen to any podcast, so he's probably not going to listen to this. But
No
uh,
worries.
geez, he's a good surfer, Stu. He surfs longer boards, like not long boards, but longer boards because he's a big rig, and
He's a unit.
he throws them about. Yeah, he's a good surfer, but
What was the surf like?
pumping, solid. It's like 3 to 4 foot. Had one of those though. So bit of a bad story was it was a rock, like walk through rock, like keyhole paddle out, and I dinged the tail of my board. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
you get
but
that, mate. You can't be a server without being your board, mate. It's
no, no,
impossible.
no. Yeah, but the waves were good, and I can't help but say I was extra, well, not extra, but I was like the amount of surf that I've been able to watch the last 3 days. It was like yesterday I went because I was sitting there watching the surfing, and I was just like, I've just got to go surf, like,
Yeah, that's what's good
um,
about it. It makes you want to
yeah.
surf.
But you got waves?
I had a I had a self-imposed lay day today, Matt. I got a tiny little sunspot burned or frozen or lasered off the left tip of my nose on Tuesday or something, potentially. I told him, I said, I'm surfing, don't worry, after it, which I don't know if it's good or bad. Like the first day, no zinc would stick to it because it was just too smooth and wet.
Yeah.
But we had another kind of small swell event, and today the wind turned onshore. Um, so I've given myself 2 days off, and then I've got two really good days maybe coming up, and then flying to Australia, which I'm really looking forward to. But either way, I just remember the last couple of days, and this is for all our listeners. Never are you so happy in life and your decisions if you follow the path of a surfer after a month of good waves. And it's not going to happen all year round. And I think you just got to always, and it reminds you, and it's reminded me again, that your life's journey has to be about keeping your body fit uh, and healthy, your mind fit and healthy, so that when that happens, you can make sense of it. Because if you're not, you're done. If you're a surfer, keep on it. It's fucking hard, I tell you. Sometimes remembering, I read this quote from Albie Falzon, and he said, the creator of Morning of the Earth,
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
just got to. He said it's a hard path. Obviously, there's money, there's kids, there's work, there's injury, there's sickness, there's surfing will overcome it all. Um, there's my preach. I've got at the end of it, I've got a really good core kook. But let's go straight to the pool, Matt. I was
Mm.
absolutely, I'm telling you, I was riveted. I loved it. I've read a lot of online hate. I don't care. One of my other best mates watched it, thought it was unreal too.
Yeah, I would say that that was probably for me. There's still like as always, there's things that I would have maybe changed or liked to have seen different. But I would say that's definitely the best pool event I've seen out of like not just WSL, the couple that were at Urban Surf and even the Stab Highs and stuff like that. I think that that was very, very well executed. I thought the WSL, like the broadcast, done a very good job. A couple of bits here and there that were a bit touchy, but most of it they done a very, very good job. Um, yeah, I thought it was really good. Um,
You know what I thought seriously about, Matt?
yeah,
I'm thinking any other sort of wave pool technology. I don't think I could handle it.
I think it depends. I think it just really, really depends. But the you'd have to get creative with the setup because the thing that they have there to their benefit is the way it just goes one way and then just turns back around and goes the other way, which is just a massive, massive benefit. Um, I don't. I guess we haven't seen another wave pool go to this level, but you know the fact that like I think one of the biggest reasons why it was so good was Mitch Cruz because there was a thing that I think Stacey was talking about it, but Mitch Cruz is he was the tester, and they originally had the wave set at an interval of 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and it wasn't right. They slowed the wave down, the intervals to like by a second at a time, and then it was actually set at 3 minutes and 47 seconds, which then made the second barrel better. Um, and because of that, and because of having Mitch Cruz on hand to test it second by second, it worked. Like the right and the left. The only thing was I did think the wind was a bit shitty, but
Hey, so here's my very highly informed and intellectually compounded take on the event. That I don't know if Mitch was the reason for this at all for myself. Is that I think you need a long run. I think any sort of other technology that's shorter, like Waco, any of those sort of things, wave pool, everything, it's not going to test the full range of skills. Uh, I really, really like the idea that you get a long run and these people, whether it's the same wave after wave, whatever, that's what's for me that I've come to enjoy over the last couple of years, uh, is the important factor. It's one person gets the exact same run and he's watched the other guy do it or girl
mm,
do it 2 minutes before. The ball's in your court. Pressure was the thing that got him through. There was the cream rose to the top. Look at it. I've got a few misdemeanors and hypocritical reflections on myself that I'll bring up after that. But that's what I like a long run, a long
mm.
run, a little bit of everything.
I
You
also
know,
I
one
liked.
last thing. Sorry, Matt. One
There
last
you
thing.
go.
It would be better, obviously, for Geordie if it was bigger. Okay, so it's going to cost them a lot. How do you do that? But two, Geordie has the advantage at a place like J Bay or something else where he's got this extra power. So you can't always have the advantage, can you?
No, correct. Plus, Geordie messed
Ain't
up.
good.
He was this highest score and then fell really, really like strangely just fell on a left and
Pressure.
he needed like a 5.5. The one thing I was going to say was what I also loved about this was how cutthroat it was. Like
Yes,
that
that's it.
night
That's
surf,
it. Cut throat. Bang.
yeah, that night surf where it was just literally top four, like it is what it is. Like, um, so sometimes I think about that when I think about the say an event not in a pool where you have the opening round and then you have the elimination round just for the people who come last. It's almost like I would say if in your opening round, if you come last, you're out. And then
That's it. That's it.
if you come second, you go to an elimination round, and the first person goes through. Like make it like make
Maybe,
make every heat really consequential. Like if you come last in a opening round heat, pack your bags, see you later.
well, here's the thing as well, and I've read here and there, and I've had people say this, and I've seen it and experienced myself, but I've had time to analyze it because I'm old and crusty. Is safety surfing? Yeah, 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 safety surfing. Hey, Italo wasn't safety surfing; he won it.
Yeah.
Why is it hard? And why do they safety surf? Because it's hard. They've got to finish the run. It's about competing. You get this in, I guess, any sort of sport. And I spoke to my wife about this. It's a similar thing for ice skating, similar thing for something else,
Well,
gymnastics.
it's a similar thing for Formula One
You've
as
got to
well.
run. Down snowboarding at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You got your run. You got your run. And wow, I thought I was, and surprisingly, no, I don't know if it's surprising or not. I was just like, when guys are going for stuff, even people that weren't in my team, and they didn't land it, I was going, obviously, when they were in my team, I wasn't going. But you know what I mean? Like you see someone
Mm.
go for something, I thought it was exciting. I really did.
I definitely think it's exciting. I think there's like that's why it's also interesting because in the pool, say like say you brought up Geordie, right? Geordie could surf the right to an eight, like quite a lot of the time, and he could safety surf the left to a six, right, every time, right, pretty much. So he's got 14 points. Now on one
Yeah, so he's
occasion,
not going to beat someone who can do 17
but
points, is he?
no, but that's the thing is, and this is why I compared it to Formula One. There's in a season, there'll be a driver who drives solid, right, every race, but he doesn't take the risks that all the other drivers will take. And he'll win one race a season, but he won't be near the top. He'll win one a season. If there was a season's worth of wave pool events, Geordie would probably win one, but say out of 10, right? Safety surfing. But Italo would probably win five.
Yeah, yeah. I think that there was something else, but now I forgot. So let's
Or
get back
Philippe
to
was.
the hypocritical stuff. Yeah, we'll get to Felipe. That's incredible. Um, Aaron Brooks, she's a
Mm,
little kid, huh? And we
yeah,
saw that.
yeah.
Now Katie's a little kid too, but she's 2 years older with 2 more years experience, and potentially maybe just a little bit more strength in the legs and just more experience. And let's maybe say better.
Way better.
Well, here's the thing with Caity, and this was a shine up because I didn't think we talked about this. I didn't know if she was going to be able to pull it off, but she is an ice queen under pressure. Is she looked like she was riding front side? You were surfing today. I don't know if you saw it.
I watched
She
it.
was
Yeah.
riding a different barrel to the other people
Yeah.
because of how deep she was pulling in.
She looks
The
like,
stall and directional into the barrel.
yeah, her read on a wave is on a different level to the rest. And I think that that is I like, we obviously don't know exactly what everyone does, but it seems like Katie free surfs more than nearly all. Like she seems like one of the most active free surfers, but when she does free surf, she doesn't surf like she's trying to do free to the beach every time. She's having fun and stuff. Whereas I reckon if you went and watched Brisa Hennessy free surf, it would be the same. Take put a jersey on her, take a jersey off, she'd surf the same. Whereas Katie's on a different level, and her read and the that roundhouse cutback she done was better than like that was better than any air I saw of the whole thing. It was so
I
sick.
thought the roundhouse cutback was actually better because just the way it got us so deep on the wave and down the
Yeah.
bottom, which I was hoping that Ethan was going to try that. But which brings me quickly one disclaimer on Caity, and no controversy or anything, but I nearly would have given Gabrielle Bryan the 9.2 she needed on her wave because she, for me, for her technique and style of surfing, surfed that way perfectly. Did you see that one? She needed
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
9.27. She got a nine, and that just gave her a bit of pressure on the left, which she nearly got. She could
Mm.
have got a scorer. She could have really got the score. She could have beaten Caity there.
She could have. I thought front side on the nine. I think for me, I was giving it to Katie for variety. That was where I was seeing the difference. And
I think sometimes Katie still gets little bonus points when she's going a bit soft off the top because she's so good to watch.
yeah, maybe.
I do think sometimes not safety tagging it, but because she's a little kid too.
Mm. But it was that was a really good heat.
Molly Picklum, the best on the lefts. She was outstanding.
Yeah, I was about to say this is where I need to put out a little disclaimer slash retraction. Um, I wrote off Molly and Jack Robinson pre-event. Molly surprised me more than Jack. Incredible. Probably by far the best on the left in the goer side, like backside. Um, really, really good.
Smashing it. And the other one I want to apologise to you and myself is thinking Aaron Brooks was the only half decent backside barrel rider. Like, look at Fahini Ferrero, like insane.
So good.
She was maybe the best backside barrel rider.
I was gonna say I reckon her or Molly. Molly on the left in the barrel was really good. But yeah, her or Vahine for definite.
Vahini maybe lacked a little bit of power front side on her lefts, which
Yeah,
unfortunately now that's the name of the game. A bit of time in the gym perhaps would will fix, but she surfed pretty good too, didn't she?
yeah, surprised me quite a bit actually, Vahine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I would not have had her down for a semi-finalist in the
Like a
top.
beautifully smooth backhand.
So good backside. I was going to say this to you is I think that the women have a much it's really strange. I don't like well it's not really strange, but I don't know why it is exactly, but I think more women are better at going backside than more men are going back better at going backside. Like Ethan is way better going right than he is left. But like Molly, for example, after watching, I was kind of like, you're better backside than you are front. And like Vahine, performance wise, way better backside. Um,
Yeah. There's a bunch of them like that. I think it's just to do with the weighting of when you're on your back foot. You rotate easily on your
yeah,
backside. It's easier for me because I'm lightweight, as opposed to front side. You kind of need that extra power.
yeah. See, I struggle going backside, like coming back down with it. But I'm a terrible surfer anyway, so there you go.
Put yourself in Abbey Dubai
Yeah,
for a week. The
yeah,
other hypocritical thing I wanted to say is like, of course, they've got human rights issues. As I mentioned to you, though, the leading Western countries in the world have got human rights issues. We've now got a leader who's trying, potentially going to side with Russia against Europe and things like that. There's nowhere perfect, and I kind of they're far from perfect. But when you see that skyline, like behind the pool, can you imagine living in that desert for the last 1,500 years?
mm.
Do you think that hasn't warped their brain a bit?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like you sit here and you're like, well, what would you do?
And
Like,
then all of a sudden they realize they're sitting on the biggest gold mine in the world,
yeah.
even regardless of the fact that it's just going to kill us.
But I wanted to bring up about this. And I kind of mentioned it in the show, like in the episode before, about cultures and respect and stuff. I'm so shocked that the WSL, especially, showed so much of athletes drinking alcohol and
Yeah, yeah.
highlighting it. When
I thought that too.
I think that was really disrespectful. Like, because in a way, like obviously part of their culture, they're in Abu Dhabi and it's a Muslim country, right? Like that's what it is. And that is against the religion, and against the beliefs of like that whole country.
It's
I know
kind of
that,
it's kind of like saying it's good for it. We're fine. We're able to do it, but no one else.
yeah, it was really, really weird. And like what I did think was,
Maybe they're moving away from the traditional beliefs. What
well,
do we
apparently
know?
that,
What do I know?
yeah, I mean, apparently like it's different places are harsher and not, which, and I've not been, so I don't know. But I just thought maybe that you know, like there's a lot of the reason I thought it was there's a lot of Muslim footballers, right, where if the shirt sponsor is an alcohol drink, they will have a shirt without a sponsor on it. They won't even promote the alcohol drink, let alone drink it. But then this show is or this like event is happening in a country with the same beliefs, yet they're like rightly showing people in that country kind of like going against the beliefs of that. I thought it was a bit weird. I also thought it was a bit Al Cleland. This is something that annoyed me about it. The women's night surf, there was Al Cleland, Liam O'Brien, Joel Vaughan, one other guy, and you could see them drinking. They were sat watching, and they were screaming and whistling every wave, which was good fun. But the Felicity Parmentier and the other commentator kept saying, "Oh, the crowd here are going wild," and you could hear it was like four guys, like, and it. I was like, "Why are you like? Why do you keep saying that? Like,
Just leave it alone.
you've panned to a camera that has shown an empty, like literally empty, except for four guys." And she's like, "Oh, the crowd are going wild." I was like, "No, they're not." Like, but um, I do like
Here,
seeing the surfers like sit around and support and have a beer and stuff like that.
here's another one. I went up to the northeast of England, 20 97. How many years ago is that? 28 years ago. 26 and a half to near Saltburn. And one of my friends, we were walking home to his house, and he said last week this guy got necked by a bottle or something because he was walking home with his girlfriend, and there was a fight, and some guy kid was getting smashed, and he gallantly stepped in and ended up in hospital, and I think like paraplegic or something like that, super serious for his life. And because Robbie was said to me, don't fucking say anything. If you see anyone, shut up, don't say anything. Now I thought about this. The moral of the story is Tyler Wright's just a young Australian lady in a country that's worth trillions and trillions of oil. And if she tries to mess with the machinations of that, it's not gonna, it's not really gonna work for her. So she's just a normal person like me. I walked home that night and I shut up. If I saw an injustice, most probably you'd walk away because we're normal people. There's not many people that can be like Simone Weil, who was this French woman who went into one of the Nazi camps in Germany and then did the walk of death with her sister and mother, had them all die, go into parliament, become a lawyer, fight against abortion, fight against all these people. There's not many people like that in the world. And to judge her for not saying anything, it's kind of, you know, it's easy for us to judge when we're not there. That's my point.
I agree, but it's like I do agree. I see the Tyler thing slightly differently in terms of, say, using your analogy, that's the same as if she was messaging you via a messenger saying, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to beat you up, I'm going to beat you up. And then you say, come meet me. And you stand face to face to her. And she goes, sorry, I didn't mean it. Like it. And what I mean by that is don't say anything. If you're going, if
Yeah, yeah, I
she,
know where you're coming from.
if she wasn't going, if she wasn't ever going to boycott the event, then don't say anything about it at all. Because if anything, she brought more publicity to the event as well. Um, but I do understand your point as well, and I think it's a really good, valid point. And she did do a really classy post where she was surfing with young females on the rising tide thing. I thought it was quite classy, but I think maybe like you say, don't say anything completely, and then no one would judge her either way, you know.
There you go. There you go.
But
If you want to be a hero, you really got to step out and be a hero. There's not many of them in the world, and in history, you've got your Gandhis, you've got your Moses, I guess. You got your Simone Veils. You got some people, and it takes a lot of courage. What do you think about Felipe swiping the camera? Man, that was
uh,
radical. I
if
honestly think it should have been a reserve, personally.
personally, I don't think it should be a resurf. But
Okay.
but the other side of me is, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of the way. Like that camera,
Oh, it's just annoying, isn't it?
fucking knob. Like it's literally a mechanical wave where you know where everyone is surfing the whole way. Get out of the way, you
We
dickhead.
don't even need that shot.
No,
We've got another camera angle.
he doesn't need that shot. And to be honest, get a lens where you can be 5 meters away. Like you don't need to be there. I don't know what will happen to the guy. Like, I don't know if he, like, I don't know if, I don't really
He's
want,
he's he's long-term head of water photography or something like that.
yeah. And I think Felipe has handled the situation really classily. Like, he put a picture up of him hugging the guy, and the guy was apologizing to him. And he put a video up saying, like, like, whatever kind of thing. It did not change the wave at all.
Hey,
Um,
so he did look a bit off kilter. He wasn't at Italo's uh, level in this event.
no, I think I don't think it changed the scoring of any of his waves. I think it was fair to Kanoa. Kanoa beat him hands down,
He was ripping too, Kanoa.
ripping. Yeah, really, really. There was a. This is something I wanted to highlight. There's one of the waves that Kanoa surfed in the opening round where they were stood next to Jake Patterson and he commentated the
Yeah,
wave.
yeah, I heard it.
It was amazing where he was like, "What's he doing?" Like he was like, "He's nervous." Like what? What? No, like it literally ripped him apart, like on a live broadcast. Um, and I thought that was great. Like I loved that. And then after that wave, Kanoa just went. It was like he washed off his nerves and then surfed really good. Um, yeah. So I was going to ask you, um, like, was there any like standout or highlights for you? Not necessarily like obviously Italo surfed good the whole time and stuff like that, but yeah.
I thought that Gabrielle, Caity, Semi, and then the Molly. Like honestly, I wasn't sure they were going to give Caity a score at the end because she did one really good turn and then I don't know. I mean, I think she deserved to win. I think she gets a little bit of bonus points, but I think if you watch it live, it must be so much more special. And I think
Hmm.
that's what it is, the point of difference. I think what I often think, do they overscore Ethan? Like in my eyes, no, because he's one of my favorite surfers. And I think, and then when I think back and you kind of look at it and you go, well, they don't overscore him really because they're only giving him 8.2s. They're not giving him 9.6. And if you do something like Jackson Bunch did, who was a highlight, or Italo, you're going to take him out. So
Yeah.
you want to win it. You just got to be the best. You got like people say safety surfing. Well, if you can get good enough, which maybe some of these people will, at doing that and doing it consistently, I mean, I don't want to say that's where the future is, but I guess that's where the future is for wave pool surfing, and
That,
hopefully not because there's better waves in the ocean. We know that.
I definitely think this is the first, like every time the wave pool has been on tour, I've at the end of the event, I've been like, get it off tour. This should like this the way that this one is represented and performed. I would want this on every year right now.
I
There's
just think it adds a diversity to what these guys are up against.
there's one thing I did want to point out. The again, it's not really necessarily about the surfing that happened in the event, but I heard a lot of people talking about like pre-event about how certain people like Barron and George Pitar as well, they had to travel from Hawaii to this pool, which was like 40 hours worth of travel, and they were missing like warm-up waves and stuff like that, right? The WSL have set a schedule out with
That
a
was
wait
stupid. I
with a
thought that
wait
was stupid.
so stupid, right? They've set a waiting period for pipe. And then they've gone, okay, so if worst case happens, we finish on this day, which actually happened, the winner of this event then, first of all, can't celebrate his win at all, can't do anything, has to jump on a plane, miss warm-up waves that are scheduled in for him. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, if this event was next weekend, there would have only been a week between events, potentially, and everyone would have been there. Like, I don't know if you heard George Pitar like the day before on the day like he missed a flight. He got a flight to Tokyo, fell asleep, missed his connecting flight, and had to get another flight and stuff.
And he nearly made it through that round. He got fifth.
Yeah, and he surfed good, but
I didn't see him, so.
he missed he missed he only had half of his warm-up waves that he should have had allocated to him. But and that was basically he got punished for finishing fifth at pipe. Like
Okay, so we found the thing to hate on. They need to get a little bit more
planning.
leeway, of
Yeah.
course, especially when there's time zones and stuff like that as well. Um, I still thought it's got a valid spot. There's a month till the next comp, which gives us a month to talk about everything else that's been going on in the surfing world, including good surfboards, fins, all that sort of stuff. We'll find stuff to talk about. I've got a Kuka call for you, Matty.
Go on.
Talking to an unknown in the car park while you're getting ready to go out for a surf at a sort of a crowded spot that you go to often.
Um, I think it depends on the person.
Okay. I mean, I never used to do it at all. I like to not
If I
know them in case you got to have some sort of paddle interference with them or anything. But I'm
this is
doing it a lot recently because like you could get hit by a bus tomorrow, so you might as well have one smiling person in the surf that you can look at and go, "G'day."
yeah, I would say that if the person's on their own and I'm on my own, um, and they
Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to talk to four people, that's for sure.
no, yeah, and they seem like they're not like out and out beginners, then I would try to like because I know that I've rocked up to spots before being like shit, like I'm new here or I've not been here or whatever, blah blah, and like that would make me feel better. But also, like you say, I think it happened to me about a month ago. I was getting changed at Fistral and there was a guy there, like not seen before, like, and I was just like, oh yeah, how's it going, like kind of thing, and then ended up like pretty much like sat next to each other in the lineup, like just as it is. We didn't paddle out together or walk out together or anything like that, but yeah, and then like wave came, he was like, "You go." I was like, "Sick." Like,
Hey, so
so
well,
I'd say it's cool. I'd back that. As long as you don't stand around like not getting changed, and like I say, if you're both on your own, like there's been a couple of times where I've been with a mate, and they've done it while they're with me, and I'm standing there ready, and I'm like, and it's like my car as well, so you need them to put their stuff in their car so you can lock it up and stuff. Like, hurry up! But yeah, I'd say it's cool. I'll give that one a call.
well, I've driven to this spot, which is about 30 minutes from a place, and the forecast was just absolutely spot on. And I've parked at a spot across the road where you couldn't check it. And I didn't really want to check it. My timing was I don't want to check it. I just want. And as I opened the door of my car when I've parked, I heard wax going on aboard. That's pretty wild. Like surfers know that sound, as opposed to someone else would have wondered. I knew it was, and I was looking. I couldn't see where it was because there's kind of cars everywhere, and it was a guy double diagonal from me, and it was like that. I was like, I said, "What's it like? Is it going off?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was." He goes, "It's pretty good." And then he didn't have a helmet or anything, and I was like, it's pretty warm. I think I wear just a slip-on cagul or something." And he goes, "I'm wearing my helmet." And he pulled out his helmet. He wears a helmet at this spot because it's pretty crowded, which I'm kind of thinking helmets could be at one stage they're going to be the future because, like we've already spoke about that. But either way, that's how it started. And as it was, then I saw him in the surf a couple of times, gave him the nod, and then I pretended, get back to normal in a clouded lineup, and I was blanking him again. But we had our moment.
So when you do that, just out of curiosity, do you start the conversation in French?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you reckon you could tell when they're not French before you've spoken to them?
Yeah, well, I would have looked at the car. He straight away started talking to me in English because of my accent, which nearly always happens if they can speak English.
Bonjour, mate.
Okay, yeah, and then after about two sentences, they realise that it's that
Yeah, that's
it's
good though.
tedious, and they'll switch back.
But at least it shows that you're not like a complete foreigner, like if you know what I mean. Like they'll probably hear you speak the way you speak French and be like, okay, yeah, like he's you're not you're not
Yeah,
you're not there like
I need to spend a month in the mountain, completely isolated from any sort of Australian to be able to assimilate the accent, and it could happen. But like the
yeah.
other thing was, I just wanted to say is, and we said it the other day, and maybe we won't be able to say it at other times this year because this is our surf season. Fuck, it's a good sport, incredible, but like it was just not a life changing week, but a career reassuring week. We've said, okay,
Yeah.
I'm a surfer. Like, I've been at this sport now for 40 years. Yep, 40 years, 43
Yeah.
years. There's probably a couple of years off. And it can be a hard sport. And then all of a sudden you know, that's what I said like at the start of the episode. You just gotta stay disciplined. Like this friend of mine who wakes up at 2:30 to do an hour in the gym before he goes to a 12-hour day up in some of the mines in West Queensland. And I asked him about it, and he said it's just discipline. And you need discipline in surfing, or you're just going to
I
stop.
heard I heard a quote the other day, or it was a philosophy, I guess, from I was watching this program about the Irish rugby team. I think it was the Irish rugby team. Yeah, it was the Irish rugby team. And they got a coach, and he says basically his whole thing is be the best at anything that doesn't require talent. So what he said was like, be the fittest. Like it doesn't take talent to run up and down for 80 minutes. That's hard work. Be the best at being strong. Be the best at that. And he said everything that doesn't require talent, be the best at. And I was like, do you know what? That's actually pretty inspiring.
Okay, so that gives me for the last 30 seconds. Massive shout out. We didn't speak about him. Rio Wader. I know
Yeah.
him. An unreal kid. Made the final. Deserved it.
Thanks.
Loves it. Loves the sport. Trains hard for it. Radical. I had him in my team because he's a little fella, little wave. Fucking Rio, just epic. Good on you, mate.
My team got absolutely fucked.
Oh, smashed it, mate. I had everyone in the final except Caity because he couldn't have two top tiers. So thanks for coming, Matt. Great episode.
We'll be
Uh,
back.
we'll have some guests coming up in the next 2 weeks. Au revoir.
Au revoir.